Texas and Oklahoma and their television partners have reached an early exit agreement with the Big 12. They will head to the SEC after this season. This 2023 season will be the final season you see Texas and Oklahoma playing Big 12 football. They head to the SEC in 2024. How did they get this done? Well, they're going to owe the Big 12 a combined $100 million, and I've got details from the Dellinger report as to where those $100 million are going to go. This is a good thing for everyone, unless you just sit out there somewhere and have nothing to do with anything and just don't want to see him move. This is pretty good for everyone. But it's great for Brett Yormark. So that's the new Big 12 commissioner. And a lot of people still haven't put a name to a face, and you don't know a whole lot about him. He is not your garden variety, came up through the university bureaucracy and administrative state and elevated eventually to conference commissioner. He's not that. He's an entertainment guy. He comes from that sort of new age school of thinking as to how you elevate and hire a commissioner, and it paid dividends for the Big 12 here. He looked at it a lot different, I think, than most in his position would have looked at him. He looked at him as assets that were about to head out the door, and he said, why would I wait another year and get nothing for them? I don't care if they stay here. It's not going to do us a bit of good if they're here one more year versus 2 more years. Let me get something for them. And so Brett Yormark looked around and saw things sort of stalling last week, and credit Ross Dellinger and the guys at SI because they were pretty adamant through their sourcing, even at the time that it appeared these talks had stalled last week, that they hadn't stalled. And I kind of fell for that. Now, granted, I didn't have a great deal of attention paid to it, but I kind of fell for that. I thought when things felt like they stalled last week after the Big 12 conference meetings, I just kind of thought that was a last gasp effort. They couldn't come to an agreement. I think we talked about it actually on the show. Well, that's not the way it went down. It seems that about that time, Brett Yormark walked in and said, this is going down. We don't want him here. They don't want to be here. The SEC does want them there. We're going to make this happen, and we're going to get some money. We're going to get something. We're not going to get played anymore, is what he said. As a conference, we're going to do the playing. And not only are we going to be aggressive on the front end here, now with $100 million being paid in terms of an early exit fee, the next glaring, burning question in the room is, where does that money go? Well, it goes to be distributed equally amongst 8 Big 12 legacy schools. Good for you guys. So you get a payday, and then also, that's not the final question, that's part 1. Part 2 is, how aggressive are they about to be in terms of proactively going after other programs? You know, last week, even though maybe I thought this was going to be on the back burner for one more year, I was adamant about one thing, and that is conference realignment's not done. And I was adamant about that because there's not a reputable person that I talk to in our industry, or especially the actual other side of the fence in the college football world, who says otherwise. Everyone expects the Big 12 to make moves in the plural. Most people are convinced the Big Ten's not done moving. And therefore, all eyes go to the Pac-12, right? Because we talked about the Four Corners teams just the other night. I think Dennis Dodd's done some really good reporting on this as well. The Arizona schools, Utah, Colorado, I would highly suggest you keep your eyes on all of them. Chain reaction could very well lead to teams like Fresno or San Diego State, Boise, etc., being granted admittance into the Pac-12. So there is about to be a lot of moving and shifting. This is kind of just the first major domino. They had to get this out of the way, and it's out of the way now. It's good for everyone, though, because number one, it signifies you got the right guy in the commissioner's chair in the Big 12. Number two, hey, out of left field, good for Georgia, because it looked for a little while, for a few days, like the SEC had forced them to cancel their series with Oklahoma all for nothing. The thinking had been, if we're going to get Oklahoma in 2024, we can't have Georgia playing them out of conference in 2024. So from my lips to your ears, Greg Sankey to the University of Georgia, that series is canceled. Go schedule, I think they schedule Catala Community College. Not too far away from that is what they schedule. Georgia schedule's trash this year, and it's not their fault. They tried to schedule tough out of conference, and then it got yanked out from under them. Well, at least there's merit for it now. So that's one thing that immediately popped into my mind. And the second thing is I believe that this is going to be a very active spring/summer as it was last year. I just spoke about Georgia. I'll mention them one more time. I think one of the reasons Georgia won a title last year, and then we proceeded to hardly talk about it at all, wasn't because we were overlooking them. I'm from Georgia. That's about the last program I'd overlook. It was because there was so much other stuff going on off the field. You remember what it was like last year around spring and summer. Looks like we may be gearing up for another summer that is eerily similar to that. When I think summer last year, I think waking up in a hotel room in Los Angeles to the news that USC and UCLA are going somewhere. I think about having DMs from Brady Quinn saying, hey, something big's coming today. I can't tell you what it is, but something big's coming today. Still appreciate that from Brady. So, Texas OU, you will see them in SEC play in about 18 months. Get ready to catch the fever.
Guys, thanks for watching Late Kick. Make sure and leave a comment. I love interacting with you. But most of all, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. That's how we keep all of this free.